right. Should be up and running here. Coming on a little early, a little bit slower of an afternoon than typical, so got a little bit of time here to start going over the market here with still a few minutes left before the close. Let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for March 21st, 2022. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Qs here down 0.7, SPY just down 0.25%. We're going to get a little narrow range day here, a little bit of a pause day. I thought that a pullback or a pause was potentially in the cards. The way that I kind of put it this morning at the open was I think we even may get a pullback, but it wouldn't be a bearish pullback, right? It wouldn't be a big drop. It would be something to kind of maintain this hourly uptrend that's been started. So you can see that's kind of what we got, this kind of shallow pullback. But the way that we did it was pretty sloppy. If you look at kind of the way we started, we moved up first, and then came in hard. And then we had another kind of, I think this might have been related to the Fed chair or talking about inflation, then a drop, and now kind of moving back up. And after all that volatility, you can see the SPY here is really not down very much, kind of just unchanged. Wouldn't be surprised if we close even closer to unchanged at the end of the day here. Okay, so it doesn't change anything for our bias going into tomorrow, still bullish. Now, we don't have anywhere in this hourly pullback, I think, reasonably for tomorrow to say, okay, if we break this area, then no longer bullish. We might have to go all the way back to here, which was our last line in the sand. But this is the last time we really had a meaningful pullback, a pivot that I think is a good area of defined support. Okay. So I guess anything could happen. Yeah, something could happen overnight. Some other development that we do come down and take out 424.80. But I think reasonably, we're gonna still be bullish going into tomorrow. And if we do start some kind of deeper pullback, right, we'll have to see what that pivot looks like, because I don't think that this is all that likely to be relevant for tomorrow. Okay, so SPY here for the Qs, same bottoming tail, same time, just going to be here for the Qs under 328.40 for the Qs there. All right, underneath that. And the same thing here, it's been kind of a grind higher. We've got a little bit of a pullback, but something in between a pullback and a base. Really just a rest here. If you look at the daily, you can see kind of the narrow bar that we got today. So on a day like today, which is kind of neutral, we are, down almost 0.5%, but neutral bar overall. Of course, that's not really going to change our bias too much, right? Still bullish. If we get some kind of pullback, I'm expecting it to still be a buyable dip. Okay. All right. And then IWM, I expect we'll just follow the others. We occasionally take a peek at the IWM. It sometimes does its own thing, but eventually it just kind of follows the two bigger ones. All right. Let's go over plays from today. I only had one thing called for today, and that was the IMGN. I like this gap quite a bit. This was one of the top gaps here. I think I said if this were not, right, it was this one. If this were not a 20-cent symbol, basically if this weren't a penny stock, this would be my favorite gap. IMGN's close. IMGN is good. It's just that there is some weekly, monthly support that does eventually show up. Okay, but I was really looking for us to get closer to I think it was 370 was kind of what the second target was for me. Now, we did get to the first target on this IMGN, so let's go ahead and go over that. IMGN was just a opening range breakdown, just treating this as a nice tight bar here, okay? I gave it 2 cents in either direction, so it ended up being 12 by 32, 20-cent stop here. Okay, and then what I wanted to see was us break $4. Okay, so if you look here to the left on the daily, all right, we did have a little bit of support there at 4, and if we break below it, that will be kind of a first area. Okay, so if we go back here on the weekly, the low of this green bar right here, okay, low of that bar, before we get into the void area, 399. Okay, so once we break that, that's really where the first target was. We went 1 minute bar by bar on the first piece. Okay, and once we took that first front half, that pretty much made it a free play. Like, it was going to be a locked in. Even if this came all the way back and took out our original stop here, high of the day, it would have been just a break-even play. So that was fine. So, once we got that first piece out, I was pretty hands-off with it. Scanning for other things, looking for other plays. So, I liked it quite a bit, and we were even looking at the potential for an ad. I know Sammy was called to play on this that didn't trigger under $4. So, I really did like this play a lot. And underneath this $4, I thought that was, if you weren't in, a good opportunity to join on the play. But then it started to go up. Okay, so it ended up not triggering that. It started to kind of transition higher. And then once we started to go into this uptrend on the 2 minute, that's when it started to kind of watch it to see, okay, do we need to trail? Maybe the bottom is in, okay, on this IMG. And so we did have a nice initial drop, nice follow through to the play, but then it started to stall a little bit. So eventually we did get this little bit of a reversal here on the 2. Now, what I didn't like, as I already mentioned, there's the closing bell, is that the 2 minute 20 MA was already pointing up. And so I was like, okay, well, is the 5 going to catch up in any kind of reasonable amount of time? And at that time, looked like this. So, it's possible, I could have gotten shaken out and then have to get back in it. That I was willing to do because I do like this gap a lot. Okay. But I decided, let's go ahead and trail some. It is going to be a winner, not a big one. It is because we already locked in the front half, and we're trailing basically the back half for a half hour loss. So overall the play will be positive. And so then it did trail, and it actually did run up and take out the top. So in this instance, I did break from my plan a little bit to kind of make this adjustment. I just felt like I'd given it all the time in the world to prove it wanted to go down. I'd given multiple setups, but refused to trigger them to continue that downtrend. So that's fine on the IMGN. So I don't really have a problem with this play. I like the play a lot. Made a little bit on it. Overall, it's fine. Just, didn't go as far as I wanted to go. Okay. One of the best plays this afternoon I saw, James mentioned this TTI. Thought that was pretty good. This one came up a little bit later. Just a really nice tight base. And notice how through all of that volatility in the morning, the up and the down and the back down, and then this was seemingly on its own page, pulled back, and then base, dealt with the resistance from earlier, and then got a decent move after that. Okay, so not bad. And then also the chart here is doing a 1, 2, 3. Now, we did talk about at the end of the day here a 1, 2, 3 happening on the Qs here after this reversal bar, but it's only Monday. So will it stay like this? That would be a really tight weekly range if it did. But, that doesn't really do anything really to impact our bias here nor there. I mean, we're bullish on it already. It's putting in a bullish pattern on the weekly, although we still got 4 more days for that to finish. So, but the TTI, nice little fall through, pullback, initial igniting bar, and then a 1, 2, 3 on the daily. So nice time frame alignment on this TTI, and then one of the kind of cleaner charts today. Okay. All right. So should be still another interesting week. I think at times can be a little slow, but that's fine. I mean, I thought last week wasn't bad. It was a good week. I think Friday was the only day for me that was a break-even day. All the other days were up okay. So, it's kind of just how we are. It's not the most exciting. It's not like earnings season. It's not quite the pace a little bit slower, but it's still fine to manage and take high quality plays and pass on the stuff that's not good enough. Okay, and I think one thing I've noticed about for people in the room too, who are asking a lot of questions, I think you're getting a lot out of it. There is more time for us to answer questions, not miss questions. So for those of you in the room, just even like last week, I think Sammy made a note of it too. There were a couple of people who just made a lot of progress since the open. They just joined since the open house that are new, and asking questions is great. Even if it's not, the answer isn't really good find. I love it. Really nice find. Even if it's feedback like I don't like it. Which you'll hear me say throughout the day, I don't like it. I don't like the daily because the daily's multiple bars up, or because of the intraday is a little bit too extended up already. Whatever the reason is, right? And I think so. I'm noticing that there are some people in the room who've taken the opportunity during some of those slower periods throughout the day to ask some good questions and get some good review. Okay. All right, so hopefully you're doing well. All right, we'll be back at it tomorrow. I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.